what is Joaquin Phoenix's expression? It's like, oh, that's interesting. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adventures in Historyland YouTube channel. I'm your host, Lando, and today we're reacting again to another trailer. This time, it's the second trailer of the much anticipated and much talked of Napoleon, directed by Ridley Scott. And to preface this, I'd like to say that I have not seen this trailer before. I haven't seen it beforehand. I haven't even seen reactions of my friends, such as Zach White, who have reacted to it. So, without further ado, and with that in mind, let's get going.
General, we are discovered. Good.
Wait! Nice! Get it clear! Retreat!
I'm not built like other men.
Generals gathered in their masses. Move along now!
Those in power only see me as a brute, unfit for higher office.
Just like witches at black masses.
But I follow in the footsteps of Alexander the Great and Caesar.
Evil minds that plot destruction.
If you look down, you'll see a surprise. Once you see it, you always want it.
Sorcerer of death construction.
I will not lead a second in command. I will win by fire. I am destined for greatness.
I found the crown of France in the gutter and placed it atop my own head.
Ashes where the body's burning.
You want to be great, but you are nothing without me. Say it.
I believe I speak for all of us. We will all sleep again without this vermin.
Whose country are we in? Mine.
That is good to know. And you know what else is good to know? Things cost money. And it's difficult to make that money when your channel isn't getting enough views to monetize it. So this is Lando just coming in, rudely battering down the door with his begging cup to ask you, if you have got this far and if you are enjoying this content, to remember how much you enjoyed it at the end of the video and to show that appreciation in the Ko-fi tip jar when you do. In return, I'll continue to make videos and I will be forever grateful, or at least as grateful for as long as it takes for me to spend the money. But in that time, I will think of you fondly. Okay, sorry for bothering you. Carry on. Okay, well, that was the second trailer for Napoleon by Ridley Scott. Maybe it should be called Don Napoleone. I'm getting real kind of Mafia Don vibes from the coronation scene where Joaquin Phoenix crowns himself. The line, I found the crown of France in the gutter and I picked it up, is something Napoleon is supposed to have said or written. I don't think that he grandstanded with it at the coronation, that's just from memory. But it's certainly an apt use of the quote for the film. Obviously, in the 1970 Waterloo, you have Napoleon and the Duke of Wellington saying practically every famous thing they ever are supposed to have said over the course of their lives in a 4-day period. It just sort of makes him sound like he's trying to be Don Corleone. Battle scenes are what they are. I'm kind of I think we're going to be most impressed by the Battle of the Pyramids, if I'm honest. That should be quite spectacular. And that bit where he's going to inspect the mummy, that's a famous painting. A lot of the Egyptian scenes especially are quite reasonably being used as sort of homages to great Napoleonic imagery. So a lot of excellent paintings were produced in the later 19th century to celebrate Napoleon, and some of the most spectacular ones are the ones where he's in Egypt. If I was making a Napoleon movie, I would just make it completely about the Egyptian and Syrian campaigns. I'm on record as actually having said that already, but Ridley Scott doesn't follow me or listen to me or know I exist, so that is why I'm here scamming off his original work. The most outrageous thing about this trailer is obviously how they're setting up Napoleon as someone who has come from nothing, and this is repeating Ridley Scott's, I believe, mistake, although maybe it's not a mistake, maybe it's just a choice that is kind of dubious when you're dealing with history in this way, that he did this in Kingdom of Heaven. Balian d'Abilene, it was not a peasant itinerant blacksmith. He was a lord. He was a knight already. I'm very concerned from the trailer. Concern's a strong word. I'm suspicious that what's happening here is Napoleon is getting a rags to riches treatment, which is going to completely belie his actual background as a minor noble from Corsica. A gentleman already by the time he went to the military academy, which you couldn't get into in pre-Republican days unless you were a gentleman. And he certainly didn't have a great beef with the British. I don't know what the British are doing, pointing muskets at Corsica, at young Napoleon, because the British have nothing really to do with Corsica in the way that the trailer is portraying it at the time when Napoleon was living there before anybody knew who he was. Napoleon should be looking at a French royalist flag with French royalists in white coats pointing muskets at him if they're trying to depict Corsica when he was a boy, when he was a young man, and he was a fervent patriot with Paoli. So that's going to be one of the biggest uses of creative license to make Napoleon immediately connect with the audience that Scott has taken here, if that is what is actually happening. The rest of it is looking all very impressive. I get the Duke of Wellington's voice chiming in there about sleeping safely and stuff. Intimates that they're going to make Wellington a much more important figure in the downfall of Napoleon pre-Waterloo than he actually was. This is strange coming from me because I'm a Wellington fan and I like to promote what he did, but we have to be realistic about this. He didn't have a lot to do with the downfall of Napoleon physically, as in like informing the Allied councils of war and things like that before 1814. And so that's going to be annoying. Again, visually speaking, it's looking very fantastic, and you can tell from the lines that they've been given, the acting, that they're presenting themselves as it's going to be kind of like, there is a Don Napoleone kind of vibe to it, a power-centered, rags to riches. I came from the streets and I pulled myself up, and now everybody's trying to take me down, and the decisions I've made make people hate me. Don't go against the family, don't go against the empire. I'm getting these vibes, and Josephine is definitely being pitched as a strong, almost a nemesis figure that he grows to hate as well as love. And that is probably going to be her role in the movie. Just a guess. I don't know. Nevertheless, she's got it's going to be interesting to see what that relationship looks like. But good grief, the cringiness of that that scene with where she lifts up her dress and opens her legs to show him something. His expression. What is Joaquin Phoenix's expression? It's like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, that was one of the cringiest, in quotes, seduction scenes, I suppose, that I have ever seen. That's not looking good at all. I mean, moving on. You've definitely now confirmed that you can be absolutely assured, 100%, that you're going to see Waterloo, the Battle of the Pyramids, possibly Eylau, and Austerlitz in this movie. I'm sorry, I should have said earlier that the whole ice thing is just ridiculous still. It's just not worth talking about, really. It's just complete fantasy. Again, there's going to be license taken with a lot of the battles, and again, I'm fairly certain that the Pyramids is probably going to be the best one, just because of its simplicity. I'll do another video about why I think Napoleon's you shouldn't make whole like birth to death biopics, and you should really focus on sections of a life in another video. But anyway, that is my reaction to the Napoleon trailer number 2. It's coming out next month. I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy it. I'm sure a lot of people will have a lot of questions, and a lot of people are going to be arguing about it because of what this movie does for a long time afterwards. Napoleon would be so happy. Don Napoleone would be so happy. Are you looking forward to the upcoming Don Napoleone movie, or do you dread it? Do you dread the coming of the Joaquin's Don Napoleone? That's all we have time for this video. Please like and subscribe on the way out the door. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever in the world you are.